This video is made for adult collectors because it's taken me an age to actually make this video. Dragon Megatron. Dragon D's nut. God, you update your computer and then every single piece of software is like, oh, I need to do this now. Go away. I found this script I wrote back in January on this figure and sort of just left it there, but hey, there's nothing new out right now and this has to be the best legacy toy that's come out in my opinion, so I want to talk about it. This figure is new enough to be relevant, but old enough to not be on most store shelves anymore, as this shelf life is well and past its point, but like, it's so good. This is Legacy Evolution Dragon Megatron, and bruh. The surface detailing is really pleasant to look at. All the organic bumps and scales mix very well with the mechanical nature of the transmetals. The way they painted it too is great. The purple gradient throughout this guy with the gold on the plastic being the same type of gold that Lego uses. I like it. But my biggest draw to this dude is how nice and solid it feels. The plastic is super dense for even a liter, and the joints, they're nice and smooth or ratcheted in all the right places. And the ball joints, none of them are loose. Everything feels nice and sturdy on the dragon arm and on the ponytail. And I've had this thing for so long and it's still holding up. And then there's the wings. More for dragon mode, but you can still spread them out and make things look even more intimidating. He has such a big and stable base. His feet are big and spread out enough to mean he won't fall over in almost any pose, which is great. I also love the claws on the chest and how they're actually the dragon claws. And the way they do it is so simple yet clever, but more on that later. The only visual issue I have is this large panel hanging off the back. I kind of wish it folded up a little bit more with like maybe a hinge in the middle, but it's still mostly harmless. He also has a flame effect that looks kind of like the Last Night Megatron's, but smaller and less clouded and better. His chest does sometimes have issues staying hooked up together with the claws and the whole thing in general, but it's not unmanageable. It's not like my copy of Sandstorm though, where that legit just doesn't work. Now, he has some pretty solid joints, like I said, but he also rocks some interesting placements and points of articulation that make it super fun to pose. This has got to be one. Get out of the way, Lloyd. This has got to be one of the most articulated leader class toys. I think that's out there. I'm actually looking at my leader class shelf to see if anyone else. No, I think this is the most articulated leader. Because you got like Primal. So this Megatron. Oh, there's one articulation problem I have with this thing. And that's in the head, because the way that the ponytail works, the head bumps into the wings, so you only really get that much each way. You can do a little bit more if you compress the wings and move the tail, and you can get some more. But I wish this joint right up here was a ball joint, so the tail could move left and right to get out of the way. It's just a hinge, but this is, you know, dragon posing. We'll get to that later. The wings can flap. They can also go out all the way if you want to do that. Let's just compress those. The torso issue I talked about, where these just don't like staying in place, and so then this just moves. I wish there was a couple more secure tabs in the middle. That's like the only build issue. Otherwise, everything else is great, because the shoulders, they're on soft ratchets, so they can both do a full 360. All right. They can go out that far. This arm has a bicep rotation, a double jointed elbow, and a wrist that can go down. That's for transformation, but if you give him like a sword, or this is a club, he can point it at you. So that's pretty neat. And then this arm is the dragon head, so it is entirely just ball joints. So it can do whatever you want it to, and then the mouth opens. The waist, surprisingly, is ratcheted. I wasn't expecting that, and I like that quite a bit. The hips, they can go forward that far. They can go back, get the wings out of the way. They can go back about that far. They bump into the little flap back here. You can go in and out. You have an above the knee rotation, full bend at the knee, single joint, and the feet can go down all the way. They can go up all the way. Thank you. And then you have an ankle pivot that way and an ankle pivot that way. And it's a very nice pivot. So he is extremely posable. You can do so much stuff with this thing, and he's not going to fall over because of how massive those feet are. I love it. I love messing with this. I just wish this pegged together a little bit better, because then I would love messing with it just a tiny bit more. So that's the robot. I love the way this turned out, and he looks so intimidating as hell. Now let's make him even more intimidating. All right, let's make him a dragon D's nuts. I'm gonna stop making that joke now. So to start with, what we're going to do is take the head and push it back. It's on a little shifty thing. You're gonna shift it back all the way. Then we are going to take the chest and open it up. Then you're gonna take the head. It's on a quadruple hinge thing, and it's gonna come all the way back here and just sort of hang out back there. He's got an ass face. Then we're going to take the dragon arms, fold them out. They're gonna come out of the torso. And that's it, that's all they do. They just fold in and out, and they hide in here, but they end up being the actual claws. That's very nice. So you take the arm here, he's doing the limbo. You take the arm here and you're gonna peg it into the shoulder. And then you're going to fold the hand down. You're gonna open this flap all the way up. You're going to then take this arm and shift it inwards, and it's going to peg into the inside of the torso. Then you fold that over the hand. Then we're gonna rotate this 90 degrees and then take these side sections here and flip them out. These little bits right here. Then you rotate this till it sits like that, and then you bring these back up. And then this section will fold up, and it's supposed to peg into these parts here. Now I kind of struggle to get this to stay on my, oh, it's working now. Okay, well there you go, camera's on, it's gonna work. Then we'll just get the arms positioned. Now, we're gonna fold the wings out. Now the legs. Dog. Then you take the legs here and you split the hips. You bring this down and in, and it will peg into the neck and the hips. So you get that all squeezed together. This will come up and peg into the part where the claw's pegged in. Then you bring the legs forward, down, and then you chicken leg them. There we go. And you do that on both sides. Oh, and there you have dragon mode. Yeah, I love that. It's so nice. It's so fun to do. I wish this chest pegged in a little bit better. It's just these holes here. They don't really fit the claws nor the chest piece, but that's cool. Now that is a dragon. For my pretty mild research on dragon toys, that there aren't a lot of articulated ones out there outside of like the really expensive things such as Ghidorah and that new 4 Horsemen one. God, that 4 Horsemen one looks incredible. So this feels that much more special to me. It's also just a big ass dragon toy. I mean, who doesn't like that? His wingspan is impressive, and the length of the dragon mode makes him a lot longer than the robot mode, like a lot longer. And he's pretty well self-contained for a robot that has to both condense its mass and stretch out. The dragon head sculpt is pretty sweet too. The gold crown, the teeth, they're all nicely picked out. And his articulation is like an SH Monster Arts type thing on the neck and the tail. And because his legs are pretty much the robot legs, the posing's great here too. Yeah, I'd buy this again if they made it in blue. The alt mode is great. I definitely recommend this thing. It's so cool. The feel, the paint, the weight, the presence. I highly recommend it. And seeing as this guy came out and then immediately got a package refresh, there are so many out there that he's not that expensive. But that's my look at Legacy Evolution. I almost said United. Legacy Evolution Dragon Megatron. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.